This clip is not going to be a joking matter, and this is going to be a very serious subject, very serious subject matter, and this clip is going to show why a lot of the women that we complain about today, or the quote unquote OnlyFans models that we complain about today, the 304s, whatever. This clip is gonna show you one of the biggest pieces of this problem or this puzzle that we're trying to figure out. Here we're gonna have a single mammy try to argue with Andrew Wilson on the Whatever podcast, and she's going to try to prove that the past does people's that a woman's past doesn't matter. Right now, people are going to get caught up on Andrew Wilson proving her wrong, but she's going to reveal something that is actually dangerous to not only her, but specifically her daughter at home. So right here, I want you to take a look at the clip, and hopefully, I hope you guys catch it. This is because this is not about Andrew Wilson. This, I know he's the big part of the video, but this is not about Andrew Wilson. So let's press play here. Fair use, by the way, fair use.
I feel like if you're dating someone, like the past shouldn't matter.
So let me ask you a question, just a quick question. If a man has a history of domestic, does his past matter?
Yeah.
Okay, then is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
But I'm saying, like, I wouldn't go digging into his like ex relationships. Like,
wait, I'm sorry. If you were told by a friend of yours that a man you were dating had a history of domestic, you wouldn't go digging, really?
I actually got told a lot about my current boyfriend. Like, people came up to me and were telling me things about him when we went out. And from seeing his character, like, I knew that was just.
Okay, you didn't go poking around though?
I didn't need to, because I didn't care about what was happening previously.
What if you were told that he had a history of kid diddling? Would you go poking around then, since you have a daughter at home?
I use my discernment on. That's why he's the first person that ever met my daughter.
Do you think that they're just going to announce themselves and all their creepy vibes are just going to come out at once? Okay, well, let me just ask this very simply then. Would you allow somebody who had ever diddled a kid around your daughter?
Obviously not.
Well, then I guess their history matters, doesn't it?
I feel like if you're.
So, like I said, this clip is not about Andrew Wilson. This clip, just to keep it a buck with you, this clip is not about Andrew Wilson. But let's look at the comments, because a lot of people, they're missing the point here. So right here, somebody said she kept on adding until she contradicted herself. Another comment said he dragged her kicking and screaming into reality. Somebody says, and again, logic prevails. Somebody said, why do large women wear tight clothes? Now that I find that kind of funny. Somebody said, boom, women contradicting themselves again. When I saw this comment section, this is why we're not going to fix the problem. We're not going to fix the problem. Have you noticed nobody's concerned about her daughter at home? Not the men, not the women. We already know women don't care about their kids, but not the so-called based men. Not one comment is like, yo, you didn't do the research on your current BF, you being a single mom, and it show, and so before I even go in, because this triggered me, not because of, like I said, not because of Andrew Wilson, quote unquote, owning her. Obviously, any person with a standard common sense could own this fat bitch. I'm sorry, this woman right here. This is a problem. When we look at the statistics of stepfathers and the abuse of kids, I've seen the results of this. And we're still pushing this stepdaddyism and women leaving the biological father, and then oh, I'll be fine being a single mammy, and all the rise of single mammies, and then we see the rise of single mammies, and then we see the rise of women becoming OnlyFans models, or the rise of women getting STDs, and the rise of women losing their V cards at younger ages, or the rise of young women getting abused. And people are not putting two and two together. You know the reason why nobody wants to fix it, because they just want to be right. Everybody just wants to be right. Women, they just want to do what they want, no matter if it costs their daughters, their sons. They just want to feel good. You can sell a woman a drug. The drug would just be called feel good, and they'll buy it at the cost of their kids, their future lineage. They do not care about their kids. Now, for the men, what we really should be doing is taking action, meaning we should be doing research. If we actually cared about this broad, or if we actually cared about, quote unquote, saving Western civilization, right? I done seen these people on Twitter. We should literally be like, yo, who is this woman? And can we contact a family member of hers and be like, yo, she should not be having custody of her daughter? Because clearly the elevator doesn't go all the way upstairs with her. Clearly. So right, let me replay it. I'm going to pause it at certain points just to bring the point home, because I'm like, everybody talking about checkmate and yo, he proved her. Of course he's going to prove her wrong. She's an idiot that doesn't even care about her daughter at home. Of course he can prove her wrong. She doesn't even care about her own kids, or sorry, her own daughter, right? But anyways,
dating someone, like the passionate matter.
So let me ask you a question, just a quick question. If a man has a history of domestic, does his past matter?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's.
But right here, he's gonna go into those things, whatever, listing these examples. But this is a single mother with a young daughter at home, right? So she says, yes, it does matter if he was DV, if he had a past of DV. But I bet you the men that she has dated and allowed around her daughter, it's a big possibility that she's allowing people with that kind of a history around her daughter. Going by her responses, going by her logic, because the women are showing, they always say, oh, the past shouldn't matter, you should do blah, blah, even though they're projecting. In terms of just wanting to prove their point, right, they will allow a man that has that kind of a past or some kind of sketchy past like that. They will allow men like that around their kids. Oh my God, he loves them like they're his own. They're not his kids. It's crazy. It's crazy. It explains everything.
Is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
But I'm saying, like, I wouldn't go digging into his like ex relationships. Like,
wait, I'm sorry. If you were told by a friend of yours that a man you were dating had a history of domestic, you wouldn't go digging, really?
So this is where she snitches on herself, where she's talking about her current boyfriend, even though we're gonna have to ask the boyfriend, are you guys actually dating, or does she think we're dating? But let's take her at face value. She has a daughter at home, mind you. She has a daughter, and she says she's about to say her current boyfriend that she's with, she did no digging of the past on him. Watch this.
Actually got told a lot about my current boyfriend. Like, people came up to me and were telling me things about him when we went out, and from seeing his character, like, I knew that was just
okay.
So for her to do that means one or two or three things. Number one, physically she likes him, so she's overlooking all the red flags, even if he could possibly be a danger to her daughter now or her daughter in the future when she gets of age, if you know what I'm saying. And then they'd be shocked when certain stuff happens when they it's great. Like I said, like women don't care about their kids, especially single mammies. They don't care about their kids at all. But the situations I've seen them put their kids through. So that could be number one. Now, number two, and this is where I'm kind of leaning towards, but I could be wrong about that. I think it might be one, but number two is where is basically most situations. Single mammies like to say, oh, I learned my lesson from my past baby father and blah, blah, blah. So what they do, because single mammies, they struggle financially, most of them, damn near, I'll say 90%. Well, yeah, I'll say over 90%. I know that's a crazy statistic that I'm saying it like that, but I would say over 90, like I would say 90% of single moms, they struggle financially. So let me be nice. I would say over 80% of single mammies struggle financially, right? So that's a fairer statistic, right? I would say 80% they struggle financially. I haven't met. I'll say this. I don't think I've met one single mom, meaning they had the kid out of wedlock. I'm not talking about a divorcee. That's co-parenting. That's you're not a single mom. You're a divorcee. That's not a single mom. I'm talking about the single moms, right? For real. They struggle financially. So most of the time, if they find a dude, and he could be sketchy, he could be a perv. If he's paying, if they find a man that is willing to pay for her and the kids she kept, they will have that man around, even if he's a complete red flag. Even if the kid complains, yo, this dude is in my room. I caught him staring at me in my room. Or if if the daughter comes like, yo, he be touching me at night. They're not going to do anything about it, because he's the only one that's willing to pay for the lifestyle, because she needs the financial help. So that is most situations when it comes to, stepfathers and all this stuff. the guy has they're willing, the stepdad that they found is not necessarily he's of good character or whatever. They found a guy that is willing to pay for her and the kids she kept. And this is why you see a lot of these kids out here, they're kind of messed up because they don't really do the background on the guy. They're just like, oh my God, you're willing to pay for me and the kids I kept. He's like, yeah, I believe, I'm the dad. I'm going to step up. I'm going to step up and be. And what happens is this is how a lot of predators, they go unchecked because they fill in that role as quote unquote stepdad, but really they have other intentions. I done seen these videos where you just see the mom, she loses her mind when they find out like the stepdad installed a camera in the shower to spy on the kids and whatnot, and then you just see her just, I can't believe he did this. And I'm like, that's not his daughter. That's not his son, whatever. And they're just shocked. You were supposed to be the man. You're supposed to be the man that the baby father. That's not his kids. This is an unnatural situation. Like a stepfather, like that's only supposed to be a thing. Like for me, that's only supposed to be a thing if it's like not even a divorcee. That I'm talking about the father dies of natural causes, and the woman is like in real dire need of financial help because she relied on him mainly to financially, you know what I mean, take care of things. And then he comes in, but he's not a single man, meaning it should be a guy that already has kids himself. You know what I'm saying when I say like he already has kids himself, so he comes in. Oh well, I'm a single father. You're a widow. Let's just come together, whatever. Or maybe he lost his wife himself, and then they come together and they form a new family. That would be ideal. But this whole thing where they sleep with who they want, they don't even know who the father of the first child they kept is, and then okay, it's stepdaddy season. This is a recipe for disaster, and we wonder why when we look at these abuse statistics, the abuse statistics are very clear about stepfathers and all this stuff, or step parents in general, but specifically stepfathers. We know the statistics behind it, but we still push this single mammyism, and we already know those single moms, they can't do it by themselves, so they're gonna find somebody financially that can. And the first man that quote unquote steps up, they're not going to question his background. They're not going to question whether or not he's good with kids. Notice in this video, she doesn't even mention how, like, in terms of her defense of not doing the background research on her current boyfriend, she doesn't even mention nothing about her daughter. You notice that? Do you guys notice she doesn't even mention her daughter at all? It's like her daughter, how her daughter feels about this new man in the house. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter to her.
You didn't go poking around though?
I didn't need to because I didn't care about what was happening previous.
Now, like I said, people might think, oh, it's because she's dating a Chad. But I will say this is not necessarily whether or not she's dating a Chad or whatnot. Most single mammies, when they find a guy that's willing to step in financially, they will overlook a lot of dirt that man did or possibly can do or harm that he could do to the family. Specifically, just the reason why, because he's filling in financially, she doesn't want to ask no questions. She needs help. That's why I always say single moms, they're not looking for love, they're looking for help. And they really don't care where it comes from because they need it. They need the help. Don't let these single mammies fool you. They need the help. Trust me, they do.
What if you were told that he had a history of kid diddling? Would you go poking around then since you have a daughter at home?
I use my discernment on. That's why he's the first person.
Look how she skips over that. He has to mention the daughter. I didn't even know she had a daughter until he mentioned it. So clearly earlier on the show, he remembered that she did say that she had a daughter. And for her to talk about her current boyfriend and how her daughter's not even a factor in that thinking. This is where the seriousness comes in.
Your discernment. Do you think that they're just going to announce themselves and all their creepy vibes are just going to come out at once? Okay, well, let me just ask this very simply then. Would you allow somebody who had ever diddled a kid around your daughter?
Obviously not.
Well, then I guess their history matters.
Well, she doesn't know. She doesn't even know that because she doesn't care. Because financially he's stepping in and she likes him for what he's doing for her. So she's going to overlook any red flag that man has. And now for her to even admit that people have come out and said, yo, this guy is sketchy to her. And she didn't even say specifically women told her that. She just said people. So we already know that's a disaster waiting to happen. So, hey, we already know what was going. I'm not wishing ill, but this is where the seriousness comes in. if there's any males or if there's any people in her family, I'm not going to say her sister. I'll say if there's anybody if there's any people in her family that care about this woman's daughter, they need to find a way to contact the biological father and have him have custody of the kid, because she is she is a danger to her own daughter, dog. But everything in the comments, nobody's even mentioning the daughter. Nobody's even mentioning the daughter. It's not even a matter of admitting that I don't care what she thinks. She doesn't even care about her daughter. Men, this is where I believe men lose the plot. You're not supposed to ask permission. You're not supposed to ask women permission on anything. You're just supposed to take action. So if there's actually quote unquote real men, what real men would do is real men that actually cared about her family or any real quote unquote real woman that care about her daughter, they are going to be like, yo, they're going to find a biological father and be like, and they will beg that man, please take custody. I will pay your lawyer fees so you can have full custody over your daughter, because her daughter's going to end up on OnlyFans, dog. Her daughter, I'm sorry to say this, I don't know how old her daughter, but her daughter's going to end up her daughter's going to end up in the streets at like 12, 13. The way she's living reckless. She's talking about, oh, my current boyfriend, I didn't do no background on her. I hope she's lying. But I don't think she is. I'm looking at her and like I say, when I know about these real life examples when it comes to, stepfathers and all this stuff, because these women, they really be in like real dire need, so they will accept the first person that will quote unquote step in, not even factoring in that this person may have nefarious intentions, but they're so desperate for the money. You know what I mean? So, but it's crazy that here I am. I have more concern over this person's daughter over the actual mother. It's crazy. Andrew Wilson has more concern for the daughter more than her, or more than anybody else on this any other women on this panel. And then when I'm looking at the comments, nobody's even mentioning the connection. And people want, man, like, why these broads, they want to be corn stars at age 15. They talk about at age 14 they knew they wanted to be a corn star, or at age 15 I was already on Seeking and all this. They're talking about all this stuff. Women that are already that experienced sexually are women that have been touched when they were younger. And then when you look at the culprits, they always say, oh, it was somebody in the family, an uncle, a grandpa, but a lot of it is the stepfathers. This is the dangers of pushing this whole single mammyism, because you're setting up your kids for failure. All these kids that run away and then they do things, they'll always blame it on, oh man, but the stepfather would do this and you'd be like, okay, where was the mom during this time when the stepfather was doing all this nonsense? Because a lot of the stepmoms, a lot of the moms that allow these stepfathers in the lives, let's keep it a bug. They'll turn the other way as long as they're getting what they want. That's how messed up the game is.